following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into a Reaction Monday edition of Main Street Sports Today. I'm your host, Chris Yao, with my co-host, Mo Patton. He's over there.
I was beginning to wonder when I got demoted.
Hey, no. I'm a host.
Okay.
You're also the host. This is why we are.
Today we are all hosts.
Hosts. That's right. Well, we've got a lot of exciting stuff coming up, Mo. But before we do anything else, we got to talk about Thanksgiving. How was Thanksgiving?
Oh, it was typical in that I ate too much as per usual, but it was good. So. Hey, let me ask you something. So, when do y'all typically eat? What
time wise?
Yeah, time wise. What time do y'all eat?
Yeah, 2:00.
Why?
Mm-hmm. It's the perfect time in between the two football games to like kind of you probably know who's going to win the one, and
so you don't mind getting up from it, huh?
The other one's just getting started. So by the time I'm done eating, I can get between the two games. That's really the best part. But there's no real rhyme or reason. It's just that's when the dressing is usually done.
Well, we usually eat around regular dinner time, around 5:00, and then dive back in around 7:38, or just do dessert around 7:38 when you've kind of let stuff settle. I think what I think one of the reasons that we actually ate at 2:00 and started is because of travel. My grandmother's house is in Montgomery, and most everybody comes from Birmingham. So it's about an hour and a half. So after you're done eating, you take that nap, that post Thanksgiving dinner nap. And then it's, about 5:00. So you can dip out and get home before it gets too late, especially if you got kids. That may have been where that came from. Okay. And that, if you're traveling that evening, that night, that kind of makes sense. Okay. Yeah. I've never really, or I've not had to travel in a long time. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was just curious.
It's a good question because it's kind of become a thing across, especially on Twitter. I was noticing a lot of folks, they call it Thanksgiving dinner for a reason. I mean, most people do eat it at dinner, but that's what I was telling Justin, I guess it was last week on the morning show. My favorite part of the day is the 11 to 2 snack period. All the appetizers, the spinach dip, the fluff, all the little things that the sausage plates and the little things that lead up to the meal. That's my favorite part of the day anyway.
See, we don't do apps.
Oh, you got to do apps.
No, we just go straight to the food, man.
Well, what do you do the rest of the day?
Hang out.
How do you eat? What do you eat for lunch?
Typically don't, because
do you eat a big breakfast?
No.
So you just don't eat at all the whole day?
No.
Gotta stretch the stomach out. Gotta stretch the stomach out. Because if I don't, that's why you feel like you ate too much, Mo. You got to start eating that 10 o'clock brunch.
Got to get in training, huh?
Just a little bit of brunch to stretch the stomach, just enough, and then at 5:00 you'll be good to go.
You might be onto something. I might have to reconsider our run up to Thanksgiving dinner.
Just a little tweak, and you might feel really good about 7:00.
Here we go. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, it was a good Thanksgiving and a lot of great football over Thanksgiving weekend. My goodness, what a great football weekend it was from the beginning. I mean, the Lions game was really good, even though you get kind of angry at the Lions for doing stupid stuff and giving games away and whatnot. But there's neither here
nor there.
They're
the Lions. That's what they do.
That's right. Go Lions, right? Lines.
Lines.
The lines. Yeah. But yeah, again, all weekend long. It was a lot of fun. Even the Titans game was really competitive and as if it shouldn't be, but we'll get to that. We'll get to all of that and much, much more. Rick INSELL joins us, the head women's basketball coach at Middle Tennessee State. They just got back from Vegas, and they've got I'm not sure if Louisville is still ranked in the top 10, but they are ranked. Louisville Lady Cardinals will be coming into town on Sunday. So we'll talk about a couple of those things. Lots to get into, reactions from the Titans, NFL, college football, coaching carousel, high school football, and much, much more. But, of course, before we do any of that, we have to get into the rundown.
This is the rundown.
The Monday Rundown is brought to you by Zion Christian Academy. ZCA offers a faith-based, Christ-centered education in Murray County. Give them a call today at 931-388-5831 or visit zioneagles.org to schedule your appointment today. Zion Christian Academy, prepared for college, equipped for purpose.
High school football action around the mid-state on Friday. It was Beach downing Bartlett 50-39. East Nashville punches their ticket to the Blue Cross Bowl with a 41-15 win over Covington. Alcoa handled Giles County easily 38-13. It was Pearl Cone in an absolute barn burner. 53-47 winners over Haywood to make their trip to Chattanooga. Page in another barn burner, 27-24 winners over Henry County, and Oakland down Maryville 38-15.
In girls basketball action on Friday, Lebanon defeated the Hutchinson School 70-47. It was Murfreesboro Central 54, Cane Ridge 45. Stewart's Creek with a 68-35 win over Union City. Westmoreland down Wilson Central 62-23. Brentwood with a 40-33 win over Hillsboro. Union City defeated Cane Ridge 55-52. It was Nashville Christian 36, Fayetteville 30. Oakland with a 50-31 win over Gallatin. Lawrence County knocked off Murfreesboro Central 39-25. Lebanon with a 57-54 win over Houston. Stewart's Creek defeated Goodpasture 59-39, and it was Upperman 40, Westmoreland 34.
In boys basketball action, it was Lebanon 72-65 winners over Raleigh, Egypt. Stewart's Creek down to Rockville 68-56. It was Bearden 56, Father Ryan 42. Brentwood Academy 70-41 winners over Laverne. Coffee County edges Siegel 54-53. Siegel then defeated Father Ryan 53-48. Lebanon defeated Sycamore 80-38. Pope Prep 76-73 winners over Union City, and Upperman 67. Whites Creek 59.
College football action on Saturday. Middle Tennessee State with the 33-28 win at Florida International University, FIU. And Tennessee here at First Bank Stadium with a 56-0 win over Vanderbilt. NBA action. The Grizzlies picked up a couple of wins over the weekend, downing New Orleans 132-111, and the Knicks 127-123. Women's basketball action. Tennessee with a pair of wins, defeating Colorado 69-51 and Eastern Kentucky 105-71. Northern Illinois with a 65-62 win over Vanderbilt. Texas Tech defeated MTSU 72.
I think it was 67.
Yeah, it was 72-67. Middle came back for a 79-54 win over Missouri State. Villanova with an 83-80 win over Belmont. Belmont then defeated St. Louis 78-68. Georgia Tech with a 58-52 win over Belmont. Fisk defeated Wilberforce 59-54. And in junior college action, Columbia State fell to Angelina College 86-61.
Men's basketball action over the weekend. Howard edges out Austin P 56-55. It was Middle Tennessee State with 3 wins up in Montreal. 64-54 over Hofstra, 75-63 over Stephen F. Austin, and 72-71 over Montana State. Tennessee down number 1 ranked Kansas 64-50 on Friday night. It was Wilberforce 59-52 winners over Fisk. Trevecca dropped a pair down in Florida to Mary 72-56, and Florida Tech 83-51. UT Southern made a trip to Birmingham and took it on the chin against Alabama A&M 90-79, and then against La Tech 91-47. But the trip was not all bad, as Sunday they defeated the host Samford Bulldogs, and Buckyball goes down 84-82 to the Firehawks. How about that? In junior college action, Vincennes University 97-61 winners over Vol State. And in NFL, as we mentioned, the Bengals defeated the Titans, a score 20-16.
High school basketball action tonight. These are all double headers, all 6 o'clock starts. Fairview is at Dixon County. Antioch is at Franklin Grace Christian. Cheatham County travels to Greenbrier. Hampshire hosts Mount Pleasant. Spring Hill is at Lewis County. Mount Juliet hosts Station Camp. Rockvale hosts Cascade. That's at 6 p.m., not 6 a.m. Hendersonville goes to Rossview. Clarksville Christian is at Stewart County. And Watertown takes on visiting Gordonsville.
Girls basketball action only at 6 o'clock tonight. Coffee County is at Blackman and Brentwood Academy hosting Rossview. Boys basketball only. Lighthouse Christian of Antioch is at STEM Academy. That's also a 6 p.m. tip. Women's college basketball. Trevecca goes to Union. That's a 6 p.m. Central tip. And in junior college action, Columbia State's Lady Chargers are at Pearl River. That's a 6:30 tip. And Vol State takes on the UT Southern Junior Varsity at 6:30 as well.
Men's basketball action tonight at 6 o'clock. Oakwood is at Cumberland at 7. Fisk plays at Alabama A&M. And in junior college action, Brushes JV, I assume, is at Columbia State out at the Web. That's a 6:30 tip. 7:15 tonight, Monday Night Football. You can see it on ESPN. Pittsburgh is at Indianapolis. And that is your rundown.
Top story, Mo, today, and I'm not sure, is this official, or I saw Brett McMurphy tweeted it as a, but I don't know that it's official.
I don't know that it's official either, but I mean, it's on the internet, so it must be true, right?
And they can't put anything on there that's not. That's what.
Yeah. According to the website GoBlueRaiders.com, Blue Raiders headed to the Hawaii Bowl.
All right, so it is official. They'll take on San Diego State there.
Yep, Middle Tennessee was officially extended an invitation on Sunday for Rick Stockstill's Blue Raiders to represent Conference USA in the Easy Post Hawaii Bowl on Christmas Eve. The game against San Diego State will kick off at 7 Central from the Clarence T.C. Ching Athletics Complex and will air nationally on ESPN. This will be the 10th bowl game of the FBS era for MTSU. The 4th time in 6 years. And so there's that.
Mele Kalikimaka.
Yeah, this is the return of the Hawaii Bowl, which apparently was not played in either 20 or 21 for COVID reasons. And Middle goes back out to Hawaii for the first time since 2016 when they lost to host Hawaii. So
interesting. You know,
yes.
Hawaii's always been an interesting bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Because it has to be an absolute financial drain. I mean, I thought it was interesting how quickly UAB won their game on Saturday and immediately announced they were going to the Bahamas Bowl. Like, it was not 5 minutes later. So I was like, how does that work? You know? It seems very odd, but whatever.
It's interesting, and like you said, I don't know what the financial reward is necessarily for it, but you know, who turns down a bowl? I mean, between playing in the bowl, playing on ESPN, playing in front of national audience, the extra practice sessions that you get to get ready for the bowl, which coaches will tell you is an incredible upside in terms of the time that you can spend with some of your younger guys that are going to be seeing more time, if not in the bowl, next season. Just the extra practice time is crucial and critical for them. So I don't think you're going to see anybody turn one down, regardless of what the financial ramifications of it might be.
Yeah. I just think that Hawaii just seems like a really tough place to go on less than a month's notice. I don't know. Like I'm sure that I'm sure the school and the bowl has some help in, airfare and that sort of thing. It just seems like a weird, I don't know.
Well, it's probably not as hard to go to Hawaii, which is in the United States, as it is to go to the Bahamas.
Well, here's the thing. You actually don't need anything special to go to the Bahamas. Like, it's not like you need a passport or anything anymore.
Really?
Yeah. So, funny story.
Who knew?
You can actually cruise on a 4-night cruise to the Bahamas. You get off the boat at 10 o'clock at Nassau, get back on the boat at 6 o'clock. Well, the bowl game is at like 11.
Well, there you go.
So you can go watch the game, cruise there and back. If you're a UAB fan, that's got to be the way you go.
That has to be the way.
There's zero other option, right?
That's how I would do it, and it's certainly how somebody else in my house would do it. So yeah, don't say that too loud, or we might suddenly have.
You might be at the UAB.
Will her Green Bay green work for UAB green?
I think so. They used to be green and yellow. That's what colors they used to wear. So go for it. I'm for it. Also, and this is so off topic, but Appalachian State is 6-6, but they have 2 wins over FCS teams.
Mm-hmm.
You can only count 1 toward bowl eligibility.
Oops.
Yeah.
Oh.
So.
Oh.
So you've got App State, who, and not enough 6-6 teams are available to make bowl games. So you've got App State, Rice, Auburn is in that mix. And I think New Mexico State had a game canceled against San Jose State. So they're applying for a waiver too. But this bowl season, again, if you don't have enough 6-6 teams, you've got too many bowls.
That could very well be. I mean, I typically subscribe to there's no such thing as too many bowls as long as there's somebody to play in one. But I mean, 5 and 7 isn't somebody to play in one, really. So
yeah, it gets iffy. It gets iffy for sure. But I'm with you. Normally, I'm just like, hey, more football, the better. I'm here for the action.
Yeah, and I mean, if I don't want to watch a matchup, I don't have to watch it, but it's not for me to say they shouldn't play.
Yeah. No,
not my circus, not my monkeys.
It's gonna be interesting to see who gets some of those bowls. Anyway, that's it for today's top story. MTSU's headed to Hawaii. Good for them. Be a good trip. I mean, if nothing else, Middle knows how to find the warm destinations this time of year.
Right.
If nothing else, they seem to always find themselves in a place where they can enjoy some sun and weather.
And this time of year, there's nothing wrong with that.
And I ain't mad at them, not at all. All right, we'll take a quick break here. When we come back, Titans NFL reaction from the weekend. So stick around here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll be back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Christy, I'm Mo Patton. Justin Kulik is on the controls. Before we get into the Titans' more college athletics postseason information, Tennessee State volleyball learned their NCAA tournament opponent would be Ohio State, the Ohio State University, in the NCAA women's basketball tournament, women's volleyball tournament. So kudos to them. Congratulations.
Yeah, they had a reveal, I guess, last night on that after winning the Ohio Valley Conference tournament last week. First time in 6 years, maybe, that they had won that tournament, I think. But yeah, big accomplishment for the Lady Tigers there. So congratulations to them as they head to Columbus. I wonder if they'll be taking football coach Eddie George along to serve as tour guide.
Tour guide, and hey, by the way, don't hate us for taking your guy. He's ours now.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's sucks to be here. Speaking of Eddie George, the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
Oof.
Nice segue there.
And, you know, I watched this game, and obviously you and I have different vantage points. Mine's, I can see the players a little bit closer than you can. They're a little bigger to me than they are to you. But, you know, when you're watching this game, whether you're in the stadium, you're at home, whatever, it really felt like the Titans offense was just kind of going through the motions at times, and then they'd break off a big play and then go back to going through the motions. It just seemed like there was never any fire, any drive behind the offense on Sunday.
You know, it's interesting that you say that, because I was watching the wrap up on News Channel 5, as I typically do on Sunday nights, and Keith Bullock kind of made the same observation, that there just didn't seem to be a whole lot of fire, a lot of fight, a lot of spirit to the offense in particular. And, you know, defensively, I didn't think Tennessee necessarily played great, but they did hold Cincinnati to 20 points. And
they gave you a chance to win.
Yeah. I think that's kind of where I was going with that. I think if you hold that team to 20 points, as explosive as they can potentially be, you feel like you're in the game. And I guess the Titans were in the game, but, you know, you saw something that you haven't often seen with this team, in that they kicked 3 field goals. I mean, they've typically been a little bit more effective in the red zone than they were yesterday. And, you know, putting it on the foot of undrafted rookie Caleb Shudak who I think was 3 for 4. And I guess if he had hit no, that still wouldn't have won it.
Right.
But you're kicking field goals instead of scoring touchdowns, and
that's not what the Titans do in the red zone.
It's really not. So I don't know. It was a little tough to watch, relatively speaking.
When I tell you that I struggled to watch that entire game, it was so difficult to watch. And they've been that way a lot this year. I've tweeted about it a number of times, how difficult it is to watch this team, because you know what they're capable of doing. And it just seems like there's always one or two things that they just don't do at all. Sunday, it was essentially not blocking number 21.
Yeah, that dude, I don't know who that dude was, but Derrick Henry certainly does, because they got up close and personal most of the day. He was in the backfield coming off the edge and disrupting everything that the Titans tried to do in the run game, it felt like. And I don't know how he wasn't accounted for, and it seemed like there weren't any halftime adjustments made to address him either. And he was just disruptive.
Well, right. And here's the thing. A nickel, the position he plays, nickelback, is typically not a run defender. It's an additional defender against the pass, but they didn't need additional defenders against the pass, because they were able to get home to Tannehill more often than they normally would. Of course, Ben Jones is not having Ben Jones is a problem, because you end up having to play Dylan Radins at left guard.
And that's a problem.
And that's the problem.
Yeah, not having Ben Jones isn't the problem. Having Dylan Radins is the problem.
And as much as people want to put blame on Derrick Henry was hit at the line of scrimmage or behind
it
almost every play. The only two times he was not hit at the line of scrimmage or behind it, he gained 9 yards.
I don't know how if you watch football, and I'm certainly not the one to talk down to football fans, but I don't know how, if you watch football and you watch that game, you come away from that saying, damn you, Derrick Henry.
Well, it's mostly fans of teams like the Colts who think that, Jonathan Taylor's a better back, or etc. They look at the stats and go, well, he ran 15 times for 45 yards. That's not very good. Well, it's pretty hard to do.
It's not.
You're not, right. But it's really hard to gain yards when they're sending 6 or 7 people against your 5 every play, because they can match up one-on-one on your receivers and win.
Well, and the reason they can match up one-on-one on your receivers and win is because Treylon Burks isn't getting enough snaps.
He was really good on Sunday. Really good. Every time you needed a catch from 16, he made it.
Or a fumble recovery.
Or a fumble recovery for a touchdown. They said that on the broadcast. It's like, that's exactly how he drew up his first NFL touchdown. Guaranteed.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's exactly what he wanted for his first NFL touchdown, was to dive on a loose ball in the end zone. Yeah.
But hey, thank God he did. But the 13, was it 13-13?
Mm-hmm.
No, it was 13-10 maybe. Titans were down. I'm not sure. On the long pass to Burks that gets him into the red zone, they run twice, throw it to the sideline, kick a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it was 13-13 because they ended up kicking to make it 16. But you got to score touchdowns there. You've got to find a way. And it's like, they're selling out against the run. Every big play you've had the entire day has been mainly a throw to either Austin Hooper or Treylon Burks.
Mm-hmm.
And neither of those guys get a target inside the 20.
Meanwhile, you're targeting Jeff Swaim.
I don't understand it.
There was a picture on Twitter yesterday of a pass being thrown to Jeff Swaim with Traylon Burks blocking, and somebody said maybe these should be reversed.
Perhaps. Again, this
Just
is
a thought.
These are those gimmick plays that he's going to run. Oh, they don't think Swaim is a pass catcher, so we're going to run him out on an out route.
And the defenses are saying, yeah, do that, please.
Well, I mean,
please throw the ball to Swaim.
If occasionally he caught the ball and, did something with it, then I could see continuing to go to that. But more times than not, he's going to drop it. And that the defense are saying, if Jeff Swaim catches it and gets a first down, we just got to live with that.
Yeah, we got to eat that one. Okay,
and we're fine.
They got us.
Yeah, and we're fine with taking that.
Yeah.
But goodness gracious, just continuing to do stupid things that hurt the team.
It's not just players.
And we've seen it all year long. The second half Titans offense is terrible. Why? Well, because Todd Downing's getting out coached in the locker room. Every defensive coordinator has made adjustments against this offense. They found a way to limit what they were able to do in the first half, and Todd Downing just keeps going back to it and doesn't understand that adjustments have been made. Now we have to make adjustments on their adjustments to be successful, and he can't do it. He can't do it.
And I don't know. I don't anticipate a change being made mid-season, but I don't know if I anticipate one being made in the offseason either. So
I don't know. I think he's a great play caller. I think it'd be a shame if the Colts snapped him up. I'd hate that. It just just be a shame. Yeah. Anyway, Titans fall to 7-4. Is that right? 7-4, and the Bengals improved to 7-4. The Jaguars improved over the weekend as well with a controversial touchdown in the final seconds against the Baltimore Ravens. Did you see the end of that game?
I did not. I did not see the catch. I was in the midst of, working on some stuff, so I didn't realize it was controversial.
Well, 1 foot down, but maybe his shin also hit in bounds. I don't know. Maybe not. Call on the field was a touchdown. Call stood. Jaguars win with 2-point conversion. Certainly interesting. But anytime that the Ravens can go down, I'm not going to be mad about it, especially if it's especially if it's to a team that I don't think we need to worry about.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think Jacksonville can turn that into anything that impacts the Titans.
So that's that, and then yeah. And then, of course, before we get out of here, we can't not mention Reed Blankenship's interception of Aaron Rodgers. So how about that?
And I'm sure our guest tomorrow will have more to say about that.
I'm sure he will. Thought that was a pretty cool moment, though, for sure. For
absolutely.
The Middle Tennessee State alum.
That one will go in the man cave.
Oh, no question. No question. Well, we got some college football to get to. I have the AP poll. It's in my inbox, so we can get to it and talk a little bit about what happened in the college football world over the weekend. Again, coaching carousel coming up. Rick INSELL at 3:00 will join us. Middle Tennessee State women's basketball coach. All of that and much more ahead on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. You guys stick around. We'll be right back after this short break. This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo, Patton, and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee sports editor, three-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
The other guy in Wham married the best looking girl Bananarama, so the other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice. Kind of reminds me of Blister in the Sun. Like a little Sex Pistols there. That's what that guitar got me. Oh, welcome back in. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. College football, Southeastern Conference reaction. Mo, did you see 56-0 coming?
No. I don't think anybody saw 56-0 coming. I don't even think the most positive UT fan saw 56-0 coming. You might have seen 56. But after this defense gave up 63 the week before to South Carolina, I think you at least saw Vanderbilt scoring. So
I tweeted it and said it on I really thought Mike Wright was going to be a problem, and he was but they weren't able to get chunk plays and big plays.
Well,
it was more,
I don't think they really utilized Mike Wright to his optimal potential, particularly early.
Yeah, well, and
I don't think it was a case of Tennessee taking him from him.
No, I mean, there were times where he got free and did his thing, but I expected to see more quarterback draws.
Mm-hmm.
I expected to see him kind of
or just straight up quarterback runs.
Yeah, I mean, but I wonder how much the rain played into Mike Wright can't beat us with his arm in this type of weather. Played into it. So maybe they were able to spy him a little bit better with a backer.
And maybe Vanderbilt picked up on that, because
yeah.
I mean, the runs weren't there. I mean, it wasn't like they even attempted them.
Yeah, he ran 8 times for 50 yards, but most of that was scrambles. They weren't designed.
And it was like the broadcast crew said, if you're not going to run Mike Wright, you might as well play A.J. Swan. And he did come in for some time, but then they went back to Wright. So
they threw the ball 17 times with Swan. He was 11 of 17 for 79 yards. That's 4.6 per attempt. Wright was 7 of 13 for 28 yards, 2.2. And to me, it just felt like, I thought Shepard was going to be a problem. And he had 6 catches for 50 yards, but they just weren't able. Vanderbilt had no answer for Tennessee's pass rush. And I think that was the biggest key. That's the biggest difference between this week and last week, is they actually had a pass rush.
Well, and I think it's obvious the difference that Jeremy Banks makes when he's in there and when he's not.
Goodness gracious, did it not?
I mean, because you hear the phrase sideline to sideline when you talk about linebackers. He was literally making plays from sideline to sideline, and he gets there and he has bad intentions when he does. I mean, I think watching him Saturday night just drives home how much he was missed in Columbia. And I imagine, judging by Heupel's comments after the South Carolina game, that he made him aware of that after the Vanderbilt game as well.
I would hope so.
And I mean, maybe they don't win that game if Banks plays. I mean, it's tough to pin 63 points on one guy.
Yeah, but
maybe it's closer. Maybe it,
maybe
if it's 43 instead of 63, maybe that kind of changes some things on the other side of the ball.
If the issue, well, it definitely does, because you can go back to running the football, which is what you do so well.
Clearly.
Or at least this weekend. But Jeremy Banks, the situation leading into South Carolina with Jeremy Banks, whatever that may have been, also played a factor in that mentally, not just on the field.
Well, again, listening to Josh Heupel's comments after the Vanderbilt game, and kudos to him for addressing some of the nonsense that was spewed from various places after that South Carolina game with regard to the culture in the locker room and the culture in the program and that type thing. That team that played Saturday night did not look like a team that had a culture issue.
No, not at all. And my guess is Josh Heupel, all he had to do was say, you see that score? That's what happens when you don't play together. When you're not fully committed to our program, this is what's going to happen.
Not just that score, but basically everything that this team had on the table disappeared as a result of not playing together.
It's interesting, though. 6 defensive backs out for Tennessee this weekend. The last time they had this many defensive backs off the field was against Kentucky. I mean, if I'm Josh Heupel, I might say, hey, maybe those guys don't need to play.
Leave those guys home. Yeah.
I mean, anyway, I don't want to spend all of our time on Tennessee Vanderbilt, but incredible performance by Tennessee. Joe Milton still struggling. But the thing is, when he hits, it's going. I mean, he's not going to complete a lot of passes between 10 and 18 yards, but 25 plus, as long as he doesn't overthrow you, it's going to be a big play. I mean, that's just the way he is. He's going to complete 10 passes a game for 200 yards, and 2 of them are going to be 70 plus.
I mean, he going deep, he would fit in perfect with Cliff Branch and some of those guys that those old Oakland Raiders had. And he's just dropping back and letting it fly. But you'd like to think that between now and the bowl game, with him working with the ones they can really work on. And I don't want to say that as if it's not been something that they've been working on to this point, but I mean, he's got to hit some intermediate passes. He's got to learn how to take something off and get that ball in. And I don't know how that's not been the case to this point.
He just can't quite figure it out. And hopefully he does, because he's got all the talent in the world, and he's exactly the kind of quarterback you want if you're Josh Heupel. I mean, he gives you the running ability, the scrambling ability, extending plays ability. He gives you, because he's so big. I mean, he's essentially a second running back there, and you need that.
Absolutely. And in this offense. in this offense, and like you said, with his size, I mean, he's tailor-made for that, and just the threat that he poses in the running game has to really have an impact on defenses.
One would think. Other interesting finishes of note. Thought Georgia finally getting going against Georgia Tech. Little shocked by the Michigan-Ohio State score. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that anybody would have expected that. I think everybody expected close one way or the other. I don't think anybody was necessarily surprised by Michigan winning, but 45-23 in the shoe, I mean, I don't think anybody saw that coming.
I certainly didn't. Real quick here. Notre Dame losing to USC. South Carolina beating Clemson.
That's funny to me. And after somebody called him Clipboard Osteen.
Yes, it was a fantastic analogy.
Yeah, but I mean, after he ran his mouth about the Tennessee South Carolina result, and then, oh, guess you weren't ready for South Carolina either, Dabo. You know, it's karma.
You got to play the game.
Karma is a wonderful thing sometimes. Yeah,
it really is, especially when it's almost instant.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those teams have the same record. Notre Dame, let me go back and look before I say this, because I want to be 100% accurate. They beat North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Clemson. But those are their two best wins.
Notre Dame's?
Yes.
Okay.
Obviously lost to Ohio State, Marshall, Stanford, and now USC.
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina has two better wins. I mean, I know they both beat, and one of them beat Clemson on the road. The other one beat them at home.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess them being ranked 19th and 20th, I guess they're interchangeable at that point. But I just thought that was interesting.
You know, I've not really looked at the AP poll at this point.
Ralph Russo has them ranked just right, both of them.
Where's he got them?
No, he said that they're ranked correctly. In the AP poll, 19th and 20th. He does this reality check column, which I love. And, you know, he goes through each one and says, you know, where are they ranked too high, too low, just right, little high, little low, you know, way too high, etc. I don't know. I think it's the AP poll, which now has USC in the top 4, is probably right in a lot of instances. But again, Alabama's ahead of Tennessee.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. And we were having this conversation in the press box yesterday at Nissan. To me, the intent of the AP poll and the intent of the college football rankings are not the same thing.
I would agree.
I think that the intent of the college football rankings is to get you the 4 best teams. The AP poll being based on what teams have done, I think there's a little bit more of what teams will do in the CFP rankings.
Yeah, and I don't know that I like that. I mean, let's go off resume here.
Mm-hmm.
And I've argued it all weekend. Look, I'm not arguing for Tennessee to be in the college football playoff at any point, but I'm arguing that if they're ranked behind Alabama, I don't know what we're doing. That being said,
right.
you're not wrong in that, right now, if Alabama and Tennessee played on a neutral field, I would not feel very confident in Tennessee's ability to win the football game.
Not at this moment, not with 5 not available.
Correct. So I can see that. But at some point, we've got to stop worrying about quality losses unless they're an absolute coin flip tiebreaker at the end. Because if I go through quality wins and I go through head to head and I go through all this other stuff and none of that's available to me or they're all tied, then sure, let's go to quality losses. But you've got 3 different metrics that prove Tennessee should be ahead of Alabama in 2022.
Well, and the argument that really irritates me is, well, you shouldn't have lost to South Carolina so bad if you wanted to be ahead of us. And my thought process is, well, Tennessee lost to South Carolina, but you lost to Tennessee, which lost to South Carolina. So how does Alabama benefit from Tennessee losing to South Carolina? Tennessee and Alabama should not be on equal footing because Tennessee beat Alabama, to me.
Tennessee beat Alabama. Tennessee destroyed the other team that beat you. So I saw this. There are 3 common opponents. All right. LSU, Vanderbilt, and each other. Tennessee was 3-0. Alabama was 1-2.
Yeah.
And Tennessee beat Vanderbilt a lot worse than Alabama did.
And as irritated as Tennessee folks are about Alabama being ahead of them, LSU folks should be a little irritated too.
Even with 3 losses. That's the thing, is there's a difference a little bit in that there's a 3rd loss. But tell me this. This is something we should probably talk about tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
If there were no divisions next week.
Say that again. You went out on me.
If there were no divisions, who would be playing the SEC championship game?
If there were no division, there'd be Georgia and Tennessee.
If LSU was number 5 at 9-2 last week, basically because they were going to play in the SEC championship game, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
They were manipulating the poll. Tennessee would be number 5, if not number 4 tomorrow night, even with a 2nd loss.
Yep.
If they were playing in the SEC championship game on Saturday. That's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. I think it's unfortunate that they do kind of manipulate the rankings a little bit as far as that goes. But, that's the human element of it, and we've spoken about that pretty much throughout. I mean, you kept Ohio State and Michigan that high all year knowing that they were playing each other, so you didn't really have to pick one.
Yeah, that's exactly
because
they had it wrong.
They were going to figure it out. Yeah, clearly.
And had it wrong the whole time. So what does that tell us?
I'm interested to see where Ohio State falls to.
Tomorrow's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, coaching carousel. Some teams have a coach. Other teams are losing their coach. Some teams still don't have a coach. I did see a tweet from Tobias Wilburn who said that Auburn will have a coach next season, which I said big if true. As of now, though, they don't, and it's starting to get into Brian Harsin territory. They've missed out on their 2 big hires.
Have they missed on Freeze?
Well, I think he got Shiano'd.
Big if true.
I think he got Shiano'd. About half the fan base was very upset, and the other half is mad at the half that was upset. Because it doesn't look like Hugh Freeze is going to be the next football coach at Auburn. Now, he might still be, but there are a lot of folks out there who are, threatening season tickets, etc. So if they don't get him, they are back in Brian Harsin territory.
Well, if they are back in Brian Harsin territory, it's because they choose to be. Because why could you not hire Cadillac Williams?
Well, I'm not saying that he's not going to end up getting hired, but he would have to have some big time coordinators on his staff.
Okay.
And you would have to go to those coordinators and say, if we hired Cadillac, would you come coach with them? And they would have to have that ahead of time. They can't, they're not going to hire a Cadillac without 2 big time coordinators coming on board with it.
Okay.
So
Auburn can't make that happen.
Maybe that's what they do at this point. Because I think it's a much cleaner end than a Brian Harsin.
Sure. And
if you called Bill Clark today and said, come be my defensive coordinator, I bet he'd do it.
And here's the thing. Auburn needs to get off the national stage with this situation.
Probably.
And they need to get off of it as positively as possible. And this would do it.
I think it could. Absolutely.
And for a university, for a athletic program that continues to talk about the Auburn way and an Auburn man and that kind of thing, how much more Auburn can you be than Cadillac Williams?
Very, very little.
I mean, who's Auburn if he ain't Auburn, to steal a phrase from somebody else?
Yeah, nobody. 100%. No, I absolutely agree with you. And I think you'd be a great head coach because, again, if you've surrounded yourself with great coordinators and great position coaches, then he gives you everything you need in a head coach. I mean, hell, Cadillac Williams may be a great play caller and we just don't know it. I don't know. Because, I mean, he's only been a running backs coach in the history of his coaching. Like, I get that. But
what he is, though, is a man that everybody in that program is going to get behind.
Absolutely.
And, again, Auburn needs that.
I would agree. And I think Sokoloff screwed up the Auburn Lane Kiffin thing. I think if Sokoloff's tweet doesn't happen, Lane Kiffin's at Auburn today.
Why?
I think Lane was going. I really do. But he's one of these weirdos who really cares about what people think about him. And I think that there was some social media information out there that he was kind of getting and seeing, like, people think that I'm not going to be loyal. I'm not going to stay loyal. I think he was going to Auburn. I think Sokoloff's tweet probably killed it. And that's pure hunch, but that's just the way I feel like it was probably going to go. But it's interesting. And now you've got places like Cincinnati open with Luke Fickell going to Wisconsin. You've got the youngest coach in the history of college football at Arizona State, Kenny Dillingham. 32.
Oh,
He's
wow.
going from the youngest head coach's staff to be the youngest head coach.
Oh, so Dan Lanning is
he's now the second youngest at 35.
Okay. How old is Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame?
I don't know. But
it's interesting. I'm
not sure how old he is, but yeah, it's interesting that that you're seeing some interesting names pop up. Luke Fickell is not one that I expected to leave with them going to the Big 12.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, more
and Ohio State fans are talking about wanting Ryan Day gone.
Oh yeah. My particular friend who's an Ohio State fan is absolutely livid. So, yeah. Maybe he'll go to Cincinnati. I don't know. Maybe Urban Meyer will go to Cincinnati. It is his alma mater after all.
Goodness gracious.
Wouldn't that be something? We can talk more coaching carousel throughout the week. We've got Rick INSELL. He's going to join us here in just a second. We'll take a very short break and return with Coach INSELL right after this on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Y'all stick around.
This holiday season, the largest lantern event in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. After sunset, come see more than 1,000 Chinese lanterns. All new designs including mythical beasts, a fantastical North Pole village, even a dragon soaring over your head. Welcome back to Zoo Illumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. We had Rick INSELL on. Now he's gone. We'll have to get him back on here in just a second. But yeah, we'll get to Coach INSELL here as soon as we get him back on here for sure. But there he is. Coach INSELL will join us now here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. There he is, Coach. What's up?
It's been a heck of a day, guys.
Well, that's what happens when you spend the weekend in Las Vegas, huh?
Oh, me. I don't know if I've missed a practice, and I don't even know if I've ever missed a practice, but today was a first.
Well, goodness. Well, we really appreciate you coming on with us under those circumstances in particular. But
well, I'm feeling a lot better.
Go ahead. I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear that, Rick. As we said, we went out to Vegas weekend for the Las Vegas Invitational, split a pair, fell to Texas Tech 72-67, and then back up and beat Missouri State. But there was some talk over the weekend. I'm sure you've seen Terry Moran from Indiana, some of her comments regarding the environment, I guess, for that event. Having taken your team out there, what were your thoughts about the event as you come back?
Really, Maurice, I had a lot of positives. We go to those type of events so that we can play teams that have good net rankings, and it's tough for us to get games. And so this is the second or third time that we have been involved with their tournaments. This is the first time that we've been involved where they had it in a ballroom. The floor was great. The lighting was great. The dressing rooms facilities were great. In both of our games, we had 2 Final Four officials, so the officiating was good. I would say the only negative would be that where they had the fan setting, they did not have bleachers. They kind of had chairs on one side of the floor, and they probably could have brought bleachers in, Usually in those type tournaments, you don't have big crowds. I have gone where now we take a pretty good contingent with us as always, but most of the teams that come to those tournaments, they really don't bring a whole lot of people. But in this situation, I guess because it was in Vegas, that there were several people showed up with the teams that were there. But the competition was great. You know, I really, I guess they had some challenges with it being in a ballroom, but you know, there was 2 other tournaments played in the Bahamas where you had top quality teams playing there that was in the ballrooms also. I think maybe they had brought in bleachers, and that would have been probably what they should have done in this tournament.
Was there anything that you didn't expect as far as that went, or did you know going in that was going to be the situation, or was that even something that you were concerned with?
I really, Maurice, was not concerned about you know, usually that doesn't cross your mind. Your lights, what kind of basketball you're going to be using, your dressing facilities. Do you have a meeting room? You know, are the bathrooms close? There's all kinds of things that you write down that you hope to touch. You can check off. As far as where the bleachers were, that never crossed my mind. Now, when I got there, I saw what was going on, and really, what I told our fan base, and I think we had more people there than anybody, is, hey, you better get there early because there's only a select number of seats. And our fan bases always did get there early, and I think that kind of hacked some of the other teams off because when they came in, there wasn't many chairs for them to sit in.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like you said, this is not unusual for these type of events, especially for these early season tournaments to play in ballrooms. And yes, there are some things that you can learn from and get better at doing. But overall, this is an event it's really for, again, great that we have fans there, but it's really for you guys to kind of get a bunch of games in a short amount of time, and you know, maybe have a little team building experience as well on a trip like this. So did all of those things take is that what you got out of this? You got some good games against good opponents and a little bit of team building?
Absolutely. You know, our basketball operations guy, Eddie Sanders, was able to take our players to a show. They were able to take them to the outside one night to the light show. The other night they toured. We went in on a Tuesday. The other night they toured kind of Vegas. So I don't think any of our players had ever been there. They heard about it, read about it, but they got to kind of experience it because it's a different animal, as you well know. It's not like anywhere else that you can go. And then on Thursday night, after we had a great Thanksgiving lunch, Thursday night, we really started pressing the needle down as far as getting ready to play Texas Tech. And that Texas Tech game, we led them the whole game. We just fell apart there with the last 4 or 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, and that ended up beating us. But you know, the experience was great for us. We took our president with us, Dr. McPhee, and his wife Liz, and their daughter Seneca. And they met some of their families from out there and also from the Texas area. So and a lot of our players, I think about half of our players, if not more, their parents came out. We're a little unique in the fact that we like everybody to be involved. I think Maurice can tell you that. We don't try to hide anything, and we want it to be a total experience. So when their families came out, they were able to spend time with their daughters, and their daughters were able to spend time with them. So and then we got a win. We should have got 2. We got 1, and we came home with smiles on our faces. And now we're ready to get ready to start get ready for Tennessee Tech Thursday, and then also Louisville on Sunday.
You know, Rick, as we're speaking with Middle Tennessee State women's basketball coach Rick INSELL here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. Rick, Jeff Walls brought Louisville down to Belmont couple of weekends ago, coming down to y'all's place this coming Sunday, and I asked Bart Brooks, we had him on the show, these top 25, these Power 5 women's teams seem to be a lot more amenable to going on the road to non-Power 5 opponents in non-conference situations than the guys do. And is that just a case of them being willing to try to grow the sport, or what's the gain for them in in Louisville coming to the Glass House and putting themselves on the line against you guys?
Well, Jeff goes back old school, Maurice. It's tough for me to get people to come to Middle Tennessee State and play, and sometimes I have to gag and throw up when I see these women's coaches at times say we're trying to grow the sport. Hey, and if they're trying to grow the sport, go play somebody on the road. And on the road, you got to bring it, and that's what you got to do in the NCAA tournament. We call these people over and over and over. We spend the whole summer trying to get games and our thing is we'll go play anywhere, anytime, anybody, if they'll come back and reward our fan base. They don't want that. They want you to come and play at their place, and then they'll pay you. Well, since I've been at Middle, I've never had a pay game. I never had anybody. I don't want a pay game. I just want you to come back and reward our fan base because they deserve to see some of the best basketball programs in the country. Jeff Walls is one of those guys that did that. Pat Summitt was another one that did that. Pat did that the whole time that she was at Tennessee. And when she stepped down, it's been tough to get Tennessee to even look our way. Now, you got to ask two questions. Why would you come and play somebody that didn't really have a good net ranking? Because that would hurt you if you're a Power 5 program. That would hurt you. But when you look at Middle Tennessee State and now you look at Belmont, our net rankings are up in the top 50. That's the type of programs that you search out to play. There's no way if you lose a game to one of them that you're going to be hurt. And if you win a game, it's not going to do anything but help your seeding in the NCAA tournament. So sometimes when I see these coaches get on social media or in the papers, USA Today, right on down the line, I kind of have to smile because I've called some of them to come and we go to their place and they said, no, not interested. So, you probably didn't want that today.
No.
They probably didn't want to hear that, but then Bart has the same problem. We'll go all the way across country and play somebody that's in the top 300. And you got someone down the road 100 miles or 50 miles or like Georgia Tech or Georgia, those people, 2.5, 3 hours, and you can't get games with them. And you're not going to do anything. It's a win-win situation when someone goes into Belmont and plays them, someone comes into Middle Tennessee and plays us. And that's how you grow the women's basketball game. That's how you acquire fans. It's just like the game Sunday with Louisville. Well, Thursday we're playing our education day. We've had the largest education days in the last 10 years across the country. We go anywhere from 10 to 12,000 students there, and that's unheard of. Then you go Sunday, with Louisville right now, we've had to pull the bleachers out. So, I feel like that's how you grow the game of women's basketball.
I'd 100% agree, Coach. I think that's what is going to make the game grow, but it's also going to, improve everybody from Conference USA down, up, doesn't matter. Women's basketball can't get better as a whole until young girls, and you've seen this with softball, until young girls are able to watch really good basketball at the collegiate level. That's just the facts.
No doubt about it. That's where they find their mentors. That's where they find the young ladies they want to be like, they want to look up to. If you don't have that, if you can't experience that, I'll give you an example. We just had a young lady that came back that played at Middle Tennessee and brought her daughter, and her daughter had never, ever wanted to play basketball, was not interested, didn't want anything to do with it. She came back to, I think it was our Belmont game that we had, and she text messaged me the next day, and her daughter said, hey, I want to play basketball. I want to be part of that. So that's how you do that. That's how you grow the game.
You guys are doing a fantastic job with that. Obviously, Louisville, big game on Sunday, and we'll certainly be keeping an eye out. And may see us there. You never know.
We want you. We want you there.
course.
If you're not there, that would disappoint me. I got up here off my sick bed to talk to you and Maurice.
You're right.
I want y'all to show up.
And trust me, if there's any way possible, I will be there. I assure you. As long as the I've got a less than a month-old baby. So I don't. We'll see.
I don't have that excuse, Rick. So you may see me for sure.
If you don't see me, we'll find out. But this is huge.
If you had a less than a 1-month-old baby, I don't know, Maurice. I'd have to question you.
No, trust me. No. You'd have to question a lot, actually. But Rick INSELL, the Middle Tennessee State Lady Raiders coach, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. They got a couple of ball games coming up this week. Tennessee Tech coming to the Murphy Center at 11 o'clock on Thursday. Louisville coming in Sunday at 4 o'clock. All the cool kids will be there. So, Rick, appreciate you getting off your sick bed, man. Get to feeling better.
Look, we love y'all. You know that. We watch you all the time. Matt tells you that. And matter of fact,
Oh yeah. He throws stuff up on Twitter, man. I appreciate y'all's support. We really do. And we will catch up with you.
All right. Thank y'all.
All right.
Mo, Auburn didn't miss on Hugh Freeze.
I just happened to glance over at Twitter here, and Ross Dellinger is tweeting, tweeted about 28 minutes ago, Auburn is finalizing a deal to hire Liberty coach Hugh Freeze. So I guess New Bias was right.
He was, in fact.
They will have a coach next season.
So, well, there you go. That is.
Here's the thing. Now, didn't he sign a contract extension earlier this season at Liberty?
Less than a month ago, Mo.
Didn't he lose to New Mexico State Saturday?
And UConn and Virginia Tech, I think. Lost his last 3. Went to Arkansas, got a win. Then,
well, that ain't hard, apparently.
Well, it is if you're Ole Miss. Clearly, he traded them the 3 final games of the year for that 1 win at Arkansas. See, here's the thing: Hugh Freeze before this year had never won at Arkansas with anybody, any team he'd ever had. And I don't know that if I'm Auburn, that's the guy I want.
Considering that they are in your division, right?
Well,
I mean, Auburn and Arkansas are in they're both in the
division
West,
still
right?
exists. I don't know how much longer that's going to be.
There's that.
But yeah, I mean, that's a team that you got to play.
with some regularity. Yeah.
So I don't know, but hey, whatever. Yes, Hugh Freeze will be the next football coach at Auburn University. How about that?
How about that? That's well, in light of everything that you were saying, with half the fan base being up in arms over the possibility is now a probability or a likelihood or a certainty. What's that going to do? What's the reaction going to be? And I got an idea who we might be having on here over the next few days.
I can tell you this. It may not be good at the beginning, but if he starts winning, it's not going to matter. You know as well as I do that winning cures almost every ill there is.
Cures a lot of them.
And, I think Hugh Freeze in the world of NIL could be dangerous. And I think he's going to win.
He may be less dangerous in the world of NIL than he was before.
Well, that's true. I did hear that part of the deal was a burner phone, though. So at least one.
Reminds me of
he's way too close to Columbus, Georgia. That's all I'm going to say.
It reminds me of the line from the Shaft movie with Samuel L. Jackson. Now, do you think I'm more dangerous or less dangerous without that badge?
I'm not saying.
I'm just saying.
Columbus, Georgia is really close by. And there are two main parts of the economy in Columbus, Georgia: the military and things the military likes. So yeah, this should be fun. Anyway, we've got to take a break. High school football, TSSAA, Blue Cross Bowl matchups are set. We'll talk about what happened over the weekend. Just a moment, right after this on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in. Main Street Sports Day presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mo, we have 9 games coming up this week, starting on Thursday, ending on Saturday. Should be a lot of fun. We've talked about the D2 games that are going to be on Thursday, but 12 more teams punched their tickets to the Blue Cross Bowl at Finley Stadium in Chattanooga this weekend, and some we expected, others
some we did not.
Didn't.
Yeah.
As we left, as you and I were down in Pulaski on Friday, as we left, I turned on the Pearl-Cohn Haywood game, which was just an absolute dogfight. Ended up 53-47. Pearl-Cohn scored with about 2:20 left. Missed the extra point, or was blocked, I think, actually. Haywood blocks the extra point, drives down inside the Pearl-Cohn 25. On 4th down, throws a pass across the middle, hits the kid in the chest, and he just dropped it. And
would have been for a first down.
Might have been for, he was by himself. It might have been 6.
Might have been 6.
Just a tough way to end your season. Tough, you feel for that kid. You feel for any kid who has to deal with that. But great football game. Pearl-Cohn and East Nashville, both making their way to Chattanooga. That's pretty cool.
Well, I'm hearing that this is the first time that Metro has had 2 state championship game participants in the same year, and I've not been industrious enough to check on it, but that's a heck of an accomplishment from those 2 programs to get it done at the same time, if that's the case. And if it's not the case, I mean, if it's been done before, it doesn't take anything from them. But congratulations to Tony Brunetti and Jamal Stewart and both those programs, and hopefully Nashville will get behind those two squads in the open. They'll play the openers both days, right? They play the 11 o'clock on Friday and Saturday.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Both will play at 11 o'clock each day.
11 Eastern, by the way.
That's right. That's right. Make sure to get there an hour early. Hopefully East Nashville will not bring any
pyrotechnics.
Pyrotechnics.
leave the pyrotechnics at home this time, y'all.
Other than that, though, man, it's going to be really great. I was a little surprised to see Riverside find their way into the state finals, but congrats to Decatur County. I thought that was
you know who else is surprised to see Riverside find their way through?
Mount Pleasant,
Kid Hartsfield. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, 18-13 in round 2, Mount Pleasant goes down, and I had picked them to get to Chattanooga.
And had they beaten Riverside, they would have.
I feel like they would have.
And if they had DeMarcus Brown, I think they'd have beat Riverside.
I feel like they could have beaten. Well,
I'm not saying that. Yeah, I'm saying if they had him, I think it would have been a given almost.
Yeah,
he's just such a different athlete. But now they've got to play Tyner, and Tyner is definitely the favorite.
They are the favorite, and they're playing at home basically.
Yeah, they're basically it's essentially a home game.
Yeah. So I mean, you talk about a hostile environment. It could be you hate to go to the state championship game and play a road game, but I kind of feel like that's what Riverside is kind of facing in that situation there. So
they certainly are, and that's about I think that's the only one, isn't it?
Well, no, Baylor on Thursday plays NBA in the late game. So
yeah. Also, Alcoa took care of Giles County pretty easily. They'll take on East Nashville, a rematch of last year's state championship game. Listen, East Nashville, they have an opportunity to be in this football game. They
really do. I mean, if you recall last year, East Nashville, I think, was either too hyped up, had not been on the big stage, that kind of thing. They made a couple of mistakes early and really made it hard on themselves to get back in that ball game. I think this program has grown up a lot since that game, from that game, and I think Alcoa is going to have to beat them this time around. I don't think they're going to beat themselves.
Congrats to Paige for going to Paris and getting a win. We know how tough that is to do, and well done to the Patriots as well as Beach, who had to hold off Bartlett after getting up 35-13.
Yeah. So got up big, got down, got back up again, showed some resilience. But when you get 301 yards and 4 touchdowns out of a kid, it helps.
Oh, it certainly does.
Darius Johnson with a monster night for the Buccaneers on the road. So also threw for a touchdown. It's not bad.
All mid-state 6A finals for a second year in a row. Third year in a row. I don't know who Oakland played 3 years ago.
I don't remember who Oakland played 3 years ago either.
Doesn't really matter. But yeah, so that's going to be fun. It's going to be a great time. We're going to talk about it a little bit more as the week goes on. Thursday we'll give you our picks and go from there. But yeah, should be a great.
We may want to give picks before Thursday since there will have been one game.
Oh, that's a good point. By
the time we go on, so
we'll do that. But it's going to be a good one tomorrow. Chip Walters joins us. We've got Heather Williams on Wednesday and so much more throughout the rest of the week. Thank you guys for being here with us on this Reaction Monday. More reaction tomorrow on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Barn & Joint. For Mo and Justin, I'm Chris. Have a good one.